The smell of pot roast was in the air. Just like Margaret used to make my daughter Emily smile across the table, her eyes looked warm. Her voice was soft. For a moment I believed we had turned a corner. That maybe I had my little girl back, but when her hand reached for my briefcase, the one that held the truth about her $700,000 betrayal, I saw it in her eyes. This was not reconciliation, it was a setup. Tonight would decide whether I lost my daughter forever or lost everything else I had left. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Secret Affairs Exposed. Now let us dive into today's story. On the camera, now the text came from an unknown number. The words hit me like a blow. I was having dinner with my daughter. Her laughter filled the room. It was warm and familiar. But the message promised chaos as she reached for my hand to take my phone. The door burst open. You will not believe who came in. Me hands trembled as I held the check. The signature looked like mine, but the pen marks wavered. Someone had tried hard to copy my final flourish. It was for $5,000 made out to cash. The date was 3 days ago. I had never written this check. Kitchen door creaked behind me. Emily walked in, designer purse on her shoulder, keys jingling in her manicured fingers. She froze when she saw me at the table. Dad, what are you doing with that? I lifted the check higher. My voice was steadier than I felt. This is your work, is it not? The signature is not mine. Her face went pale. She stepped forward and reached for the paper. Dad, it is not what you think. I just need it. I pulled the check back and stood up quickly. The chair scraped against the floor. You forged my signature. Listen to me. Her voice cracked. I'm in trouble. Okay, real trouble. The bills are piling up. I could not ask you again after last time, so you decided to steal from me instead. Her composure shattered. She grabbed the edge of the counter. Her knuckles turned white. It is not stealing. You are my father. I knew you would help. If you understood what that my daughter is a criminal. The word hit her like a slap. Her eyes flashed with something dangerous. A criminal, really? After everything I have been through since Mom died, you think I wanted this? Me chest tightened. Margaret's death had been hard on both of us, but Emily had spiraled. The gambling, the shopping, the lies about where the money went. Your mother always worried you loved money more than people. I said quietly, do not. Her voice turned cold. Do not bring Mom into this. You would have understood. She would have helped you by forging checks, by lying to banks. Emily stared at me for a long moment, then she laughed. What? It sounded broken. You think this is about one check? You have no idea. Something in her tone made my stomach drop. What do you mean? She turned away toward the living room. Forget it. Just forget everything. She followed her, still holding the check. Emily, what do you mean? What do I not know? She shoved things into her purse, phone charger from the coffee table, perfume bottle from the mantel. Her movements were sharp, like someone preparing to run. You want answers? She said. Fine. This is not the first time, Dad. It is not even close, and I am not sorry. You sit in this house counting pennies while I drown. Congratulations, you caught meth. Room tilted. My legs felt weak. What are you saying? I am saying you never understood me. Mom did, but you only judge, always criticism, never solution. She zipped her purse shut with force. I am done explaining myself to someone who sees me as a disappointment. How many times? I whispered. She paused at the door. More than you want to know, Dad, way more. The door slammed behind her. Through the window I watched her walk to her car. Her heels clicked on the driveway. The engine roared, and she was gone. I stood alone, still holding the check outside. A neighbor's dog barked once, then stopped. A subway car rocked beneath me. As I arrived at the financial district, I had barely slept. Her words echoed in my head. More than you want to know. The check felt heavy in my jacket pocket, folded and refolded until the paper was soft. Bank tower stretched high into the gray morning sky. Inside, the marble floor reflected the lights above. The rush of morning business moved around me. I asked for someone to review my account history. Mer Harper, a woman in her 30s, stepped forward. I am Sarah Wilson, loan specialist. We shook hands and sat at her desk, papers and a computer between you. She pulled out the check. I found this in my kitchen yesterday. I did not write it. Sarah examined it. Her professional smile faded slightly. Let me pull up your full account properly. Her fingers clicked across the keyboard. Mr. Harper, you have an active loan for $500,000. The words froze me. That is impossible. I never took such a loan. It was approved 6 months ago. She turned the screen toward me. Your signature is here on all documents. I leaned closer. The signature looked exactly like mine, but I had never seen these papers before. This is forgery. My daughter has done this. Sarah's expression softened. This is serious. If these are fraudulent, we must act quickly. Showed me the details. The $500,000 loan was only the start. Credit cards opened in my name, smaller loans, cash advances, all with my forged signature. The total is about $700,000. She said. My vision blurred. My retirement, my house equity, everything Margaret and I built over 40 years was gone. When did this start? I asked. The first was 11 months ago. A small credit Card for $5,000, then it grew 11 months right after Margaret's funeral. When Emily seemed so lost, when I was trying to comfort her, she was planning this. What are my options? I asked, you must file police reports for identity theft. The bank will investigate, but family cases are complicated. She said. He stood on shaky legs. Thank you. I managed to say she added some loans are already in default. You will get legal notices soon. The elevator down felt endless. When I stepped outside, the summer heat hit me. People walked past talking on phones, carrying coffee, living their lives. Mine was falling apart. He looked at the papers in my hands, proof of my daughter's betrayal. My keys hit the kitchen counter with a sharp sound. The house felt different, like a crime scene. I spread the documents across the same table where I had found that check, $700,000. I arranged them in order. November last year. The first credit card, December. A personal loan for $20,000. January. Another credit card, February. The big one, $500,000 mortgage against my house. Me house. The one Margaret and I bought as newlyweds, where we raised Emily. Where Margaret died, in our bedroom upstairs. He walked to the living room and looked at Margaret's photograph on the mantle. She smiled in that picture. It was our 30th anniversary. She wore the blue dress Emily borrowed and never returned it. What would you tell me to do? I asked. The empty room. Margaret had always seen through Emily's charm. She loves money more than people, she once said one day. It will destroy someone. I defended our daughter then. Now I saw she had been protecting me. Back in the kitchen, I pulled out a legal pad. I started writing my options. All of them were painful. I could call the police and file charges. Emily could go to prison. Or I could try to handle it privately, make her pay me back somehow. Save what was left of our relationship. If the numbers told the truth, even if she wanted to pay it back, she did. Not have $700,000. Nobody gets that deep in debt by accident. This was planned. And calculated. He picked up my phone and scrolled to her contact. My finger hovered over the call button. What did I hope for? That she would cry and apologize, promise to fix it, that we would hug like the day of Margaret's funeral. But the woman who left my house yesterday was not that person. The woman who forged my signature and mortgaged my home was a stranger, yet she was still my daughter. He set the phone down and looked out the window. Emily's childhood swing set stood in the yard, rusting, but still there. I built it when she turned 7, 3 weekends, making sure every bolt was safe. I had spent her whole life protecting her. Now I needed protection from her. My phone buzzed. A message from my old partner. Mike, haven't heard from you in weeks. Coffee this afternoon. Mike Reynolds, 25 years with the NYPD, retired now, but still sharp. He had seen every kind of betrayal. Maybe he would know what to do when your own child destroys your life. I stared at Emily's name again. She needed to know I found everything, whether I called the police or not. She had to understand what she had done. I pressed her number. It rang 4 times before she answered. What do you want, Dad? Her voice was cold. Millie, I know about the $500,000 loan. Explain this to me. Silence. A television played faintly in the background. What loan? She said, but her tone had changed. Uncertainty replaced her earlier confidence. At $500,000 you borrowed against my house. The bank showed me everything. Dad, you are exaggerating. These are temporary difficulties. Temporary? I have 12 forged documents. Here, credit cards, personal loans, cash advances. $700,000 total. Television on her end was silent. You went to the bank, she said softly. I had to know how deep this went. I picked up one document and read November 15th, personal loan, $20,000. December 3rd, another credit card. January. Stop, she said. Just stop, okay? I never meant for it to go this far, but it did. You mortgaged my house, Emily, the house where your mother and I lived, where she died, where I planned to spend my last years. I only think about money. She shot back. What about what I have been going through? What about my problems? Your problems were created by stealing from me. I did not steal. I needed help. You are stingy with everything. Mom was right about you, though. Not bring your mother into this. She would be ashamed of what you have become. Ashamed, she repeated. She understood me. She knew what it was like to want a better life. You never understood either. Of you, as our mother warned me about your love for money. I said quietly. She said one day it would destroy someone. I thought she meant me. I never thought she meant you to listen. No, you listen. I trusted you. I gave you money when you asked. I never questioned you, and this is how to repay me. You do not understand the pressure. I am under the bills, the payments, pressure you created. I had a simple retirement planned, enough to live comfortably, maybe take a trip with Margaret. Now I could lose everything because my daughter is a criminal. I am not a criminal. You forged my signature dozens of times. You took loans in my name. You stole $700,000. What do you call that? Only her breathing on the line. I call it survival, she said at last. And if you cannot understand that maybe Mom was right about more than money, what is that supposed to mean? Figure it out yourself. The line went dead. He stood in the quiet kitchen. The phone felt heavy in my hand. Children were playing. In someone's yard, their laughter floated through the window. $700,000. My only family left had done this to meth. Next morning, I walked up the stairs to Mike's apartment, a manila folder stuffed with bank papers under all my legs felt like they were moving through water. I had not slept after Emily hung up on Mimic. Opened the door on my second knock. John, you look terrible. I need to talk to someone who understands. Criminal stepped aside and motioned me into the kitchen. Coffee was brewing on the counter. The smell was warm and familiar. We sat at his small table. Mike's gray eyes studied me. Start from the beginning, he said. I told him everything: the forged check, the bank, the discovery of the systematic fraud. He picked up papers one by one. $500,000. He said, finally, John, this is serious. This is not a bad check or shoplifting. You cannot put my own child in prison. I said. Mike leaned back. As she can destroy you financially, have you thought about? Thought he had all night staring at the ceiling where Margaret and I once planned our future. Give me time, I said. Maybe she will come to her senses. Time for what? To forge more signatures? To bleed you dry, John. In my experience, people who commit this level of fraud do not suddenly change. She is not some street criminal. She is your daughter, who stole $700,000 from you. That is felony fraud. Began organizing the papers into neat piles. It was the old cop in him, building a case. Without thinking, what would you do? I asked. If it were my kid, I would want to believe they could change, but I would also protect myself. File a police report. Even if you do not press charges yet, get legal protection. Thought of walking into a police station made my stomach turn. I cannot. Not yet. Mike nodded slowly. Promise me something. Do not let her talk you into anything. Do not sign anything. Do not give her access to accounts. I will not, and keep these papers safe. They are your only proof. He gathered the papers back into the folder. Mike walked me to the door. You are a good father, he said, but sometimes good fathers have to make hard choices. I walked home, the folder under my arm. I did not see Mike pick up his phone when I left. I did not see the look of determination on his face. 3 days passed. I waited by the phone on Thursday evening while I sat with a microwave dinner. My phone rang. Emily's name lit the screen. Dad, her voice was soft. I have been thinking about our last conversation. I was not expecting this. I am sorry about how I spoke to you. I was scared. I said things I did not mean. I have been doing a lot of thinking. My heart began to hope. I realized I hurt you. I want to make it right. Her tone was the same as when she was a child and wanted to fix something she broke. Hey, want that, sweetheart? Come for dinner tomorrow. I will make your favorite pot roast with carrots like Mom used to make. Of course, I knew you would understand. I do understand. Bring those bank papers. We will go through them together and fix this mess. Relief was so strong. I had to sit down. She sounded like my Emily again. People can change when they realize what they could. Lose. Spent the next day planning what I would say. We could set up a payment plan, face the banks together, rebuild as a family. At 6:30, I loaded the folder into my car and drove to Manhattan. I found parking right outside. In the elevator, I caught myself humming. The smell of pot roast hit me when she opened the door. She hugged me. I am so glad you came. The table was set with good china. Candles flickered between the glasses. This looks wonderful, and I wanted it to be special. A new beginning for us. She took the folder and set it on a side table. We will look at this after dinner, she said. Was sat at the table. She poured the wine. The pot roast tasted just like Margaret's. I found her recipe card, Emily said, but I noticed her leg bouncing under the table. Her eyes kept flicking toward the folder on the side table. How much did you say the total was? She asked. 700,000, I replied, but the important thing is we will solve it together. She nodded quickly. Absolutely, that is exactly what I want to discuss. Leaned forward. Here is what I need from you, Dad, to pay back that money. I will need some seed money, a small loan, maybe 100,000. I have opportunities that could make the income to repay you quickly. Meeting. My mouth turned dry. Emily, you only 700,000. I did not come here to give you more, but Dad, think about it logically. I cannot make money to pay you back if I do not have money to invest. Are you seriously asking me for more money? It is an investment, she insisted. You want your money back, right? This is how we do it. Emily, this is absurd. You stole from me. You mortgaged my house. Now you want more. Everything I did was for survival, she said. You have no idea what it takes to live in this city, so you decided to destroy my life. Instead, I decided to use resources that were going to be mine anyway, she snapped. When you die, I inherit everything. I just needed it sooner. Her words were cold. It was not my daughter speaking anymore. Get out, she said suddenly. What? Get out of my apartment. Take your self-righteousness with you. Moved toward the side table where my folder sat. I reached for it, but she was closer. Our hands collided on the handle. Give me that, I said. No. Her grip tightened. In her eyes there was no trace of the little girl who once begged for bedtime stories, only rage and calculation. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Moments later, police officers were in the apartment. They moved with precision. Cameras, flash documents were collected and sealed into evidence bags. He stood by the window, still holding my phone. Detective Morrison approached. "We need your statement about the crimes." I nodded. Traumatic did not even cover what this washoe did. "You know to come here tonight?" I asked. Morrison glanced at his partner and smiled. "You have very caring friends, Mr. Harper. Someone called in a tip about ongoing fraud and said tonight would be the right time for an arrest. It had to be Mike." Minutes later, Emily was in handcuffs. Her eyes met mine once, but she said nothing. Back home, I sat in my living room, surrounded by family photos. Margaret's face looked at me from the mantel. I picked up my phone and called Mike. "I organized the arrest, did you not?" "Yes, I did," he said without hesitation. "You could never have done this yourself. You love her too much to see clearly." "How long have you been planning this?" "Since you left my apartment that day. I could see you would never protect yourself, so I did it for you." She was meeting other potential victims. John, elderly man. She was already moving on while manipulating you. I documented everything, photos, locations, patterns. Message last night, that was you. I needed video evidence of her demanding more money. I was watching from across the street when I saw her grab your folder. I called Morrison. You could have told me no, I could not. You would have stopped me or warned her friends. Protect each other, even when it hurts. Is going to prison. Mike said she belongs there. If I had not acted, you would be bankrupt within a year. What happens now? I asked. Now you testify. Tell the truth about what she did. The prosecution has a strong case. Will you come to the hearing with me? Of course. We will face it together like always. 3 weeks later, Mike picked me up in his old Honda. We drove to the federal courthouse in Manhattan for Emily's sentencing. Inside the wood-paneled room, Emily sat in an orange jumpsuit, her hair pulled back. She did not look a member. "Harper, would you like to speak?" the judge asked. I stood. "My daughter stole $700,000 from me. She forged my signature, opened accounts in my name, mortgaged my home without my knowledge. But the worst part was not the money, it was the trust she destroyed. Even when caught, she demanded more instead of offering to make it right. I love my daughter, but I cannot enable her anymore. She needs to face the consequence." Emily stood when it was her turn. "I am sorry for what I did to my father. I was desperate. I made terrible choices," but her voice sounded practiced evenly. "Harper," the judge's voice was steady, "you are sentenced to 4 years in federal prison for identity theft, document forgery, and bank fraud. You are ordered to repay $700,000 in restitution." The gavel came down as they led her away. She looked at me. I hope you are happy now," she said. "I hope you learn responsibility." I replead outside the courthouse, Mike, and I walked slowly down the steps. "Justice has been served," he said. I nodded. Not happiness, but peace. Margaret would have understood. And forget to like, share, and subscribe to Secret Affairs Exposed for more powerful real-life stories like this one.